What is going on, everybody? It's France Marina for UnScripted, episode number 86 for your September 15, 2019. Clash of Champions will be happening tonight. 11 matches, 10 championships, and 1 grudge match that nobody cares about. That is so convoluted that I think WWE should not try and do long-term booking unless they actually plan it out ahead of time. We all give WWE grief because they don't do long-term booking. And now you see why they don't do long-term booking, because this entire feud has been going on, this entire storyline has been building since before SummerSlam. And we got Rowan versus Roman Reigns at Clash of Champions. Now, I hope it's what I predicted and what everyone else is probably predicting. Roman wins, we move on, that is that. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about some news, go over what happened on Raw, SmackDown, NXT this week, and just have ourselves a nice little chat here. If you guys want to hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter and twitch.tv/TheFranceClub. Make sure to look out Raw, SmackDown, and NXT for this week, as well as my predictions for Clash of Champions. And while you're at it, leave a comment in the Clash of Champions predictions with your predictions, and let's see who gets the most right going into this pay-per-view tonight. Raw started out with, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin. They needed Stone Cold Steve Austin because it was the first week of the NFL. You had the Saints and the Texans, which was a fantastic game right here, down to the wire. Then you had the Raiders and I believe the Broncos. Yes, it was that, which wasn't so much down to the wire, but still, they needed something hot to start the crowd off and get people wrapped in. Unfortunately, that backfires on WWE because just like The Undertaker the next night, even though they had no competition the next night from the NFL or something like that, there was no reason to have these guys start the show off, because as soon as their segment is over, people are going to turn off the channel, and especially on Monday go, well, I hear the Texans and the Saints are having a good game, let's go check that out. Or they're going to watch something else. They'll say, hey, what's going on with Stone Cold? Oh, he's out there, he's doing this contract signing, we'll watch that. He stunned AJ, he went to the back, and that was that. No, and then of course at the end of the night we had Stone Cold Steve Austin come back, but that we didn't know was going to happen. I didn't know, you didn't know, nobody who turned the channel after Stone Cold went to the back knew that Austin was going to come back. They didn't advertise Austin's going to have a beer bash to celebrate Madison Square Garden tonight. No, none of that. It was just Cedric Alexander hits the lumbar check, 1, 2, 3, and as soon as that ref's hand hit the 3 count, you could tell they were running on time, because as soon as that bell went off, during the bell ringing, Stone Cold's music hits, he's not walking, he's rushing down to the ring as fast as he can, gets a couple beers, they do the whole beer bash thing, and we go from there. In my opinion, they should have let Cedric Alexander just soak it in that he won this match, and then as soon as the thing goes off, then Stone Cold's music hits, and the live crowd gets the beer bash, because the beer bash did nothing for anybody but take away Cedric's thunder. The guy just had probably his biggest win. It was his biggest win since coming to Raw, and his biggest win since he won the Cruiserweight Championship at WrestleMania 34's pre-show last year. So having Stone Cold Steve Austin come out at the end of the show kind of left a bad taste in my mouth with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, this is a problem, and WWE is going to have this problem, as they over-rely on the nostalgia acts. We just had Raw Reunion, a week into build, with like 3 weeks left going into SummerSlam, we had Raw Reunion. Stone Cold was on that one. We have SmackDown's 20th anniversary coming on October 4th. Stone Cold is probably going to be on that one as well. And it just diminishes what you do. That's just like if you won the lottery and oh wait, that's a bad example. But you go to your how am I going to put this? Let me think. Like you go, it's a diminishing return. What am I trying to think of here? Like, okay, like you had, like, say you're a person who likes pizza. I'm a pizza guy. I like my pizza, and I had pizza yesterday, and then I had pizza today, and tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. And it's the same pizza over and over and over again. It's not going to, like, that pizza I have on the 5th day is not going to taste as well as that pizza I had on the first day of the week. It's like, it's going to burn the fans out. It's like if Stone Cold Steve Austin shows up on the 20th anniversary show of SmackDown, and then somewhere in November, December, it's like, oh, ratings are going down on Raw and SmackDown, which they have been now, and they will be from now on for Raw for the rest of the year. Raw is going to hit below 2 million in probably October, especially if there's a good game going out there. Hell, the Raw might have a little bit of a chance this week of having a little bit of bump back because it's the Browns and the Jets. And the Browns sucked ass last week, and the Jets gave up a 16-point lead to lose to the Buffalo Bills. So that's a game that I don't think, unless they have a barn burner, I don't see people wanting to tune much into the Jets versus the Browns. So the Raw might have a slight edge this coming week, especially with the fallout from Clash of Champions. But if, like, the ratings are down and below 2 million, you know they're going to try and get Stone Cold Steve Austin to come back for another episode, hoping that the ratings will pump back up because we have Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, the last time Stone Cold was there for the Raw reunion, WWE was smart because they left him for the end of the show. Stone Cold wasn't there to open the show. He wasn't there for the second hour. He wasn't there to open the third hour. He came out at the end of the show. But this time he came out to the end at the beginning of the show, and anybody who stayed around was the hardcore fans. The only people who come to watch Monday Night Raw to see what Stone Cold was doing was going to stop watching Monday Night Raw as soon as Stone Cold Steve Austin was off of their screen, and that was after the first segment. Now, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I hope this is it. We're not going to see Stone Cold around for much anymore. He doesn't need to come back. You need to start building the talent that you have now, so in 10, 15 years, those guys can come back and they'll feel special. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Also on this episode, and this is the only other thing because we did talk about the other two, Baron Corbin predictably came through and won the semifinals of the King of the Ring to go to the finals, which will be happening next Monday and not a Clash of Champions, which I am fine with them doing that. With them having 11 matches, adding the King of the Ring finals to Clash of Champions or keeping it on Clash of Champions would have actually, I think, been detrimental to Clash of Champions. I mean, not to Clash of Champions, but to the King of the Ring finals, because I know Chad Gable's a fantastic wrestler. He's probably going to hit the Chaos Theory German suplex, and you go back to NXT, back during when it was, I believe, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the original one, where Corbin and Rhino went on to face Balor and Samoa Joe in the finals, which, quite honestly, kind of irked me a little bit back then because it was 4 guys in 2 tag teams that were just made up together. I honestly think that the Revival, I believe, were in this one, or at least American Alpha should have been in the finals. But the Tilt-A-Whirl backbreaker, the Tilt-A-Whirl into the end of days was an awesome finish in that match. They need to recreate that. You just had Kofi Kingston recreate the boom drop almost 10 years later to Randy Orton. So this would be a nice little piece of history. And they need to play that up, building up to this King of the Ring final. Show that match. Show highlights of these guys in that match with Jason Jordan and Rhino. Even though I know Rhino's in Impact Wrestling now. But show what these guys, like the little snippets of what these guys did the last time they were in the ring together to build anticipation for this match going into the King of the Ring final, which should be the main event of Raw this coming Monday. Monday Night Raw was not a good show. The 4 Horsewomen were on that show as well, and their tag team match just until it picked up at the end, but I was fighting sleep, trying not to fall asleep, and that's not something I want to say about the 4 Horsewomen. Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch can do better. They have done better, and I would like to, and the problem with the match was the fact that it was just thrown together because Bayley supposedly turned heel, but came out on SmackDown and everything was fine. She got cheered for beating up Becky Lynch. She got cheered for beating up Charlotte Flair. The Boss and Doug connection is back together, so why not have Bayley change her music, get rid of the inflatables, and put the hair down. The Bailey as a heel needs to change her ring attire. It needs to go dark, black and blue, or black or whatever. The music needs to change. She needs to stop with the smiling and the throwing her hands out for everyone. The hugger needs to go away. But they put this match together, in my opinion, especially after we get done with the draft and we build towards Survivor Series. I know we have our Survivor Series elimination matches and stuff, and you want to do 4 or 5 men. This should have been 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. Bayley and Sasha Banks, the Boston Thug versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte, built towards SummerSlam. And, I mean, not SummerSlam, but Survivor Series. You could have had Bayley and Sasha Banks, who are best friends, getting along, getting ready to take on 2 women who just can't stand each other, and then you could build up in storyline. Becky and Charlotte Flair realizing, hey, we might hate each other's guts, but we need to take these 2 out because they have been causing our lives, they've been causing hell for us. And that would have been, and if WWE would have had people who could book this right, would have made the match feel more special. We get the Survivor Series and you have this big 4 horsewoman tag team match. Or if you want to put them all off one brand, which you know you cannot do unless you want to put them all in NXT again, you could have a fatal 4-way between these 4, and get yourself another one of those matches. But the fact that WWE threw this on Monday Night Raw on a whim, just for the hell of it, it diminished the match for me, and it just did not. They tried their best. They tried to get some heat in there. They tried to get intensity, and it just didn't work. I would like to see them revisit it with the proper build. Just having Bayley beat the hell out of these 2 and be like, hey, we're just going to make this a match. No interaction between Charlotte and Becky Lynch agreeing that we need to take these 2 on. The only interaction we saw between these 2 before that match was when they were getting ready. Charlotte's putting on her robe. Becky's taping her wrist up, and they're just glaring and staring daggers at each other, not taking their eyes off of each other and not blinking. That was it. But that is WWE for you. Moving over to SmackDown Live, we spent the first 15 minutes of this show being bored to death with a paint-by-numbers Undertaker promo. Why are people eating this guy up? And someone is online is like, on Twitter was like, don't disrespect the dead, don't disrespect the Undertaker. And I'm like, I have nothing but respect for Mark and his contributions from 1990 up until 5-6 years ago. When he lost the streak, it was the beginning of the end. The Undertaker, outside of being the American Badass, which is what I think a really underrated persona for the Undertaker, this guy, when social media blew up, when we got people from Raw, SmackDown, like the superstars from, like wrestlers and superstars getting Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts, Twitch accounts, YouTube channels, and stuff like that. The Undertaker was nowhere to be found. He stayed silent. There was no Instagram. There was no Twitter. There was no nothing from this guy. And in the last 2 or 3 years, The Undertaker now is on Twitter, I believe. He's got an Instagram account, or his wife does, who posts pictures of him all the time. He just showed up on College Game Day last week looking like Mark Calloway, not The Undertaker. The gimmick, he used to be the most protected. He used to be the guy who protected his gimmick more than anybody. And now the guy's on Instagram. I believe he has a Twitter account. I could be wrong there. But it's like, The Undertaker is the shell of his former self, and it's a sad way to see The Undertaker in WWE nowadays. So he goes out there, he does his normal entrance, which takes about 10 fucking minutes because of his age. I mean, yeah, of course The Undertaker's supposed to walk slow to the ring because he's a dead biker. But I guarantee you, if you put an entrance from 2005 to 2004 when he returned, in between 2004 when he returned, well, okay, I'm going to say a 2004 entrance to what he did, what he's been his entrance on SmackDown this week, I guarantee you he gets to the ring 5 minutes in 2004 before he does now. It's just he's too old to be running in WWE anymore. He needs to retire. He took the gloves off. And that's another thing. WrestleMania 33. When he lost to Roman Reigns, he took the jacket off, he took the gloves off, he took the hat off, and put him in the ring. That right there was it for The Undertaker for me. The dead man persona was DOA, D-E-A-D, dead. After that, it was just a guy holding on to get that $1 million, that big money that Vince McMahon has to pay him now because he has a lifetime contract with him. Just when that happened, the gimmick was done. If he would have showed up at WrestleMania 34 with music with American Badass playing, came out with the bandana on, the bike, all that shit, I would have been like, okay, at least that's different. But quite honestly, if I was him, I would go back to the American Badass because you come out on a bike. You don't have to waste your energy walking to the ring, especially at WrestleMania when those things are so long. I mean, The Undertaker missed WrestleMania for the first time since WrestleMania 2000. Do you understand that? WrestleMania 2000 was the last time The Undertaker missed a WrestleMania. That is ridiculous. That is almost 20 years. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. That's 15 years almost. Well, it is about 15 years. Yeah, 15 years, something like that. But still, it's just too much. The Undertaker missed WrestleMania, and it didn't even make a difference. 5 years ago, 5 years ago when it was WrestleMania 30, had The Undertaker missed WrestleMania, it would have been a big deal. Oh, is he hurt? Can he come back? Is he done? Is he over? No one, everyone would have had all these speculations that, The Undertaker must be done. He's not coming to WrestleMania 30. He's not. There must be something wrong with the Undertaker. Undertaker missed WrestleMania 35. I didn't really give a shit. I don't think anyone cared. Yes, he came out the next night and chokeslam with Tombstone Elias, and it led to nothing. That's the problem. Is the Undertaker he chokeslammed Sami Zayn on Tuesday? Why? Why did it have to be Sami Zayn? Could you not find somebody else to come out there and cut a promo on The Undertaker? It had to be Sami Zayn, who, oh by the way, is managing Shinsuke Nakamura, who was on commentary for the first match of the show, which was The Miz versus Andrade. Why wasn't Sami Zayn in that position? Why was he getting chokeslammed by The Undertaker in the previous segment? It made no fucking sense. Shane McMahon, the Great Star Presence, saw as well, which was I guess jury duty must be over because he's back. I was really, really hoping jury duty would have lasted a lot longer. Jury duty, because court cases like that with jury duty can last anywhere from a month to 6 months to a year, or however long. If he would have been gone for jury duty long enough to where the storyline between him and Kevin Owens, or his heel storyline, would have been forgotten by everybody, I don't think any of us would have been mad. They could have brought him back and said, hey, look, I'm Shane McMahon as a babyface, and whatever happened before was not. But no. As we know, Shane McMahon and the McMahons have to be heel eventually. And of course, we do know Elias did break his ankle at a recent event, so he is now he is pretty much on the injury reserve. So what did they do? They gave us Chad Gable versus Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon's heel turn has already killed The Miz. The Miz lost 3 times to Shane McMahon, remember this. WrestleMania. The next pay-per-view, I believe, which was Backlash? No, Extreme Rules. I believe it was Extreme Rules, right? And then on a random episode of SmackDown, Miz tapped out to the shitty triangle choke of Shane McMahon. Shane killed The Miz, and now The Miz as a babyface sucks. The Miz as a babyface was tolerable. He was okay. But now that he's a babyface who got beat up by Shane McMahon 3 times, you killed him. So what are they doing with Kevin Owens? Kevin Owens, out of nowhere, turns heel babyface after his run against Kofi Kingston. Just out of the blue, turns babyface because that was the plan in the first place. They even gave him the stunner to turn him face, to sell him as a face. So he comes out, tries to be anti-authority, grabs a mic, tries to cut his own pipe bomb, trashes on Shane McMahon. He actually beats Shane McMahon at SummerSlam. So What do? The next Tuesday, I'm going to fine you $100,000. Here's the thing. Kevin Owens, yes, $100,000 to me would be everything. I could have my PC that I want rebuilt. I could have a PlayStation 4 Pro if I wanted to. I could have a house paid off. I could pay off my student loans that I need to pay off. I could do so much with $100,000. But Kevin Owens is a multi-time a former World Heavyweight Champion, multiple-time mid-card champion, former NXT champion, main eventer. I'm pretty sure $100,000 is not killing his profits. You have this guy who's supposed to be a badass anti-authority, but you portray him as a guy who can't send his kids to college. And on top of that, you make him the special guest referee for this match. And then the very first thing you have is Chad Gable hit the Chaos Theory German suplex pinning combination. And Kevin Owens, 1, 2, 3. Pass count, and he counts them out. Then Shane McMahon makes it a 2 out of 3 falls match. What happens? Shane McMahon pretty much has, during the commercial break, had to have been, just struck the fear of God into Kevin Owens' soul, because Kevin Owens goes from being someone who went 1, 2, 3 to, oh, I don't want to do this. He's like just so mopey. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to count Chad. He doesn't want to pin Chad Gable. He doesn't want to do his job. And I know I listened to Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer from a couple days ago, and they brought up the fact that if you took this entire script for Kevin Owens this past week, and you replaced Kevin Owens with Steve Austin and Shane McMahon with Vince McMahon, and you read that out, you would be crying. You would be like, are you serious? Like, this would have killed Stone Cold Steve Austin. If they tried to pull this bullshit in the Attitude Era, Stone Cold Steve Austin would have never been as big as he is. You know that big pop he had on Monday? That big pop wouldn't be there. Stone Cold Steve Austin would have been dead from this. And yet, you're having Kevin Owens go out there and becoming a victim of Shane McMahon. Vince McMahon has got to get his head out of his own ass. He has got to stop smelling his own shit. Because quite honestly, he killed The Miz. Any chance of The Miz, babyface Miz, being over as he could be, died when he lost 3 times to Shane McMahon. Now you're having Kevin Owens being a little bitch. He was Shane McMahon's bitch. Oh, well, what do? You have Kevin Owens get fired because he didn't get Shane McMahon to the King of the Ring finals. That is why Shane McMahon fired him. Even though Kevin Owens did nothing wrong, he just sat there and looked as Chad Gable tapped Shane McMahon out to the ankle lock. Can someone tell me what the fuck? Kevin Owens, quite honestly, if there's a tease that he might be going to NXT, who knows? He put out a Morse code, a code for and people tracked it to NXT. We'll have to wait and see. But quite honestly, that made Kevin Owens look like a geek. He looked like a bitch. He looked like a loser. He looked like a punk. He went from badass to bitch, loser, punk. That is not how you build a babyface. That is not how you build a badass babyface who is going to go out there, kick ass, take names, and not take shit from anybody. They literally do everything they can. They build you up, and then they ruin you because they fucking feel like it all for Shane McMahon. The stipulation at SummerSlam should have been, and here's what makes Shane McMahon different than his father. If Stone Cold Steve Austin came up to and Vince McMahon is like, I'm putting my career on the line, you better be putting your career on the line. And Vince McMahon, as stubborn as he would have said, you know what, pal, you're on. If I can't beat you, I will leave the WWF. And they did that at least, twice? Why didn't Shane do that? Why didn't Shane put his career on the line? Why didn't Shane make the stipulation, if I do not beat Kevin Owens, I cannot be on I have to leave WWE. In kayfabe, of course, but why? Why didn't they do that? Vince McMahon, you need to really stop with the whole Kevin Owens, with the Shane McMahon push. Shane McMahon is not helping anybody. Nobody has been elevated by facing Shane McMahon. Nobody has been, the seats, he's not putting anyone's butt in their seats. Usually when you have a detestable heel like Shane McMahon, it's built up so a babyface could be you want that detestable heel to bring people to the show to watch him get his ass kicked. That's not happening. He got his ass kicked at SummerSlam, and he was back on Tuesday as if nothing fucking mattered. I don't give a fuck if his last name is McMahon. He's got to fucking go. Enough Shane McMahon. But of course, Vince McMahon thinks he's making Vince McMahon thinks he's building the ratings up when no, he's not. The ratings are going down, and it's just getting worse week after week after week. Those 2 weeks of no Shane McMahon was absolutely fucking phenomenal. It felt so much better not to see Shane on TV. And you wonder why SmackDown's attendance is in the shithole. SmackDown's attendance is going to remain in the shithole, and it's not so long if Shane McMahon is there. Get Shane off of fucking TV and get back to what you need to be doing. Building storylines and building characters that people want to care about. Nobody cares about Shane McMahon, and nobody's going to care about Shane McMahon. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Moving over to NXT now, we had a final taped episode of the NXT brand before it goes live on the USA Network. Of course, for the first 2 weeks, the first hour is going to be on USA, the second hour is going to be on the network due to the Suits season finale, the final 2 episodes of Suits, and then of course when AEW comes around, they will be going head to head. I do feel Vince McMahon is going to get involved, especially when those ratings, when AEW comes around and AEW is killing NXT in the ratings, Vince McMahon is going to call up Triple H and be like, pal, I gave you a shot. I'm going to have to come down there and work on the show myself. Because Vince McMahon thinks he knows what he needs to do to make this a success. Was it the best? And here's the thing. Had Triple H and his team known this was going to be the last episode of NXT before they go to USA Network, back when they taped these shows, you damn straight this probably would have been a going out with a bang type episode. We had Pete Dunne versus Angel Garza, Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler. Not bad. I'm not saying those are bad, but like the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era would have been the main event, or they would have been on that show. Jordan Miles versus Adam Cole would have been on that show. They would have had the first 3 episodes be a build to this final episode and make it like a tiny mini takeover where you had like 3 matches that were takeover-esque to give you one last shot before we go to USA Network. That didn't happen, but Pete Dunne and Angel Garza gave you a fantastically good match. I think it was actually pretty good. Bianca Belair took on I can't even remember who she took on, but I think it was Bianca Belair. I know Rhea Ripley took on Shayna Baszler. That was a match that I'm hoping we get to see in the future. The Fatal 4-Way that's coming up this coming Wednesday, I don't think is going to lead to War Games because we have all of them in October, and I'm pretty sure with the first episode up against AEW, they're going to want to make that one huge. So Shayna Baszler's opponent is going to, title match is going to happen there. Rhea Ripley, in my opinion, is probably going to get the match at War Games. Plain and simple. Just, that's my opinion. War Games is where that match is going to take place. So, Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, it ended in a DQ because Rhea Ripley grabbed the chair that was Shayna Baszler got a hold of. She didn't get to use it, and she whacked her on the back a couple times. Damian Priest also took down Maria Mendoza in this show. The Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era for the tag team titles was added to the first episode, which I think should be moved to the second episode. But semantics. The Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane match will be on the network broadcast, whereas the North American Championship match will be the main event portion of the USA Network's portion of the show. WWE is making a huge mistake with doing NXT on USA for the simple fact is it's going to be live. Apparently it's going to be at 10 p.m. on the WWE Network the next day instead of 8. So if you want to watch NXT like I'm going to, you have to watch it either live or at 10 p.m. on Thursday. I'm going with Thursday no matter what because AEW is coming. This coming Thursday will be the first episode of NXT. Or Friday, whichever, because Thursday will be on Thursday and not Friday, not Wednesday. so I can condition myself and get you guys ready for that as well. So, NXT, it was a good run. 2014, when NXT, when the WWE Network launched, the first live event ever was NXT Arrival. It wasn't NXT Takeover yet. That was the next event, but NXT Arrival, which saw Bo Dallas lose to Adrian Neville in a nice little and good ladder match. You had the match between Cesaro and Sami Zayn, which I believe was a 2 out of 3 falls match. You had Paige versus Emma for the Women's Championship, which was definitely one of those matches that people overlook when it comes to the Women's Evolution. Why some people do say that Emma deserves some talk when it comes to some praise when it comes to the Women's Evolution, because she was there at the beginning of this Women's Evolution, I believe. And then NXT was off to the running there. I believe there were 2 episodes of NXT that showed up on the network on Thursdays, because NXT was originally on Thursdays when it came to TV. It was on Thursday for the first, I believe, year and a half, and I believe because USA Sci-Fi SmackDown went to Thursdays, NXT went to Wednesdays, and it was there, and it has been there since 2015. Kevin Owens made his debut at the December NXT takeover that year. He turned heel. 2 months later, he won the NXT Championship, and NXT has had its major ups, it's had its major downs. All I know is NXT, from everything, is not going to be the same after we get to this. It doesn't matter if Vince McMahon is getting involved or not. You have to deal with commercials. You have to deal with different run times. Matches that we see like on NXT, where it's like a 20-minute match, is going to feel a lot different on TV because of commercial breaks. Like the Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong on NXT itself could easily be a 20-minute match, and we miss maybe about a minute or so. But on TV, with it being live, we're going to, like, people watching at home are going to be sitting there like, come on, commercials, get over with, I want to see this match. So things are going to change, and NXT, as we know it now, is done. It's over. It's buried. It's in the ground. And even if Triple H is still there and still working, and it's his crew, NXT will never be the same. And I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad. Dave Meltzer did mention on that talk with Brian Alvarez that it's going to be difficult for NXT to keep the crowd happy and wild and crazy, because they're going to Full Sail every single week. They're going there every single week, and crowds that usually go to Full Sail for NXT, you see the same people there. You see a lot of the same people. Izzy's always there. The dumbass who who bitched that he was talking shit to Kip Sabian at Fyter Fest is always there at NXT. There's other people that you can see that you see them all the time. If they're coming to Full Sail every single week to watch NXT, it's going to get stale. And here's the thing. NXT with 2 hours is going to have to do one thing that WWE Raw and SmackDown do not do. They cannot overexpose anybody. We do not need to see Adam Cole every week. We do not need to see... for the first episode of NXT on USA, we do not need to see Adam Cole. We do not need to see Johnny Gargano. We do not need to see... we don't need to see Damian Priest. We don't need to see Keith Lee. We don't need to see Jordan Miles. We don't need to see anybody who's not advertised outside of maybe a squash match or 2. We don't need to see everybody. I mean, yes, we have 4 matches announced, and this is all we need to see on the first episode: the Fatal 4-Way, the North American Championship, the tag team match, and the street fights. 4 matches. You can stretch that and maybe some backstage segments through 2 hours. They can do that, no problem. Maybe you get 1 squash match here and there, but no Gargano, no Adam Cole. We don't need to see... We don't even, we don't need to see people there every single week. I don't want to see the first episode of NXT TV versus AEW. We see Gargano, and then the next week we see Gargano, and again and again and again, or Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era again and again and again. We don't need to see it. There is enough talent in Full Sail. The biggest positive coming into a 2-hour episode version of NXT is that we probably get to see more men and women that we don't get to see still. I mean, they just advertised Dakota Kai's coming back. We don't need to see her every week. We need to see women like Deonna Purrazzo, who we haven't seen except for twice. She's been just twirling around in the Performance Center waiting for her re-debut. Maybe they're changing her name. I have no idea, but we need to see Deonna Purrazzo. We need to see more Joaquin Wilde, who has only been seen once. We need to see more Bronson Reed, more Cameron Grimes, more Boa, which Boa just he needs something because Boa it was not Real Mendoza, it was Boa. That's right. Punishment Martinez, Damian Priest took on Boa, and Boa just doesn't have it. I don't know what it is, but he just doesn't have it. But you need to bring out more for us to see. We need to sit there and be like, oh well, who is this? We need to see video packages, hype packages of people who are going to be seeing. Don't just have somebody show up and start getting a push and we don't know who the hell it is. Yes, the breakout tournament was fine to see 8 people we haven't seen before. Dexter Lumis, want to see more of him. Want to see more Angel Garza, but not every single week. Pete Dunne, not every single week. If Toni Storm comes over, I don't want to see her every single week. They have well over enough talent in NXT to never have to overexpose. But if Vince McMahon gets in charge, I guarantee you, we're going to see Roman Reigns show up on SmackDown and he'll squash Johnny Gargano in like a 2-minute match, and then you'll have Seth Rollins come down and he'll beat Johnny Gargano in like 2 minutes, and then fans are going to be like, who's Johnny wrestling? Why is this Johnny Gargano even on my TV? And that's what I don't want to see, is overexposing and having superstars from Raw and SmackDown come down to NXT and just beat our NXT favorites. But enough talking about Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Let's talk about some New Japan. New Japan Pro Wrestling just announced this week that they will be coming to Los Angeles on November 11th at the Globe Theater. This will be the second event in New Japan for the New Japan Showdown. The first was announced in August during the Super J Cup and will be in San Jose on November 9th. New Japan hasn't announced when tickets will be available or any matches yet. Okay, here's the thing about New Japan, and they don't seem to get this. Like New Japan has a thing in like they have a set ways in Japan. They announced the Tokyo Dome and people are excited. They announce when the G1 Climax is coming and people are excited. They don't even need to know who's on the card, who's going to be in it, who's going to be facing who. They go out and buy their tickets like that. They had the G1 Climax start in Dallas this year for whatever reason, but they did. And they were trying to sell tickets without a match card or who was in the tournament at the time or anything. New Japan needs to realize that the American audiences have to have a bill. We need to know what matches are going on, who's going to be in it, and everything else. You can't just, like, November 11th. I know that's a month and a half away. But they need to go out there and they need to be like, well, here's your tickets, this is when you're going to be able to get them, and here's the superstars that are going to be on this card. You don't even have to really have matches, I guess. Be like, oh yeah, Jay White's going to be there, or Jeff Cobb's going to be on there, or Lance Archer, Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Goto, and so on and so forth. And then maybe a match or two. Maybe you have Okada versus somebody else in a title match. They need to have more information because if I'm correct, the G1 Climax first night did not sell out very well. They need to have somebody who lives in America and knows America, who works an American, like industry of wrestling or something, who knows the ticket ways of things, and have work with New Japan to build a card. Have the card set that you change moniker on there as you should, and entice people for a reason to buy their tickets. Because right now it's like, oh, New Japan's coming on November 11th to Los Angeles. Who's going to be on it? That's one of the biggest questions to anybody who is a New Japan fan in America is going to be, who's on the card and what is the card going to have? Who knows? But if you're looking forward to Los Angeles and San Jose, New Japan is coming to both of those shows. There's no tickets available yet or anything else, but I'll let you know when and if that does come up. Moving over to NXT UK, they're talking about a secondary title coming to NXT UK. Longtime pro wrestling title belt source and creator Belt Fandam noted on Twitter that the new NXT UK title is being proposed. That doesn't mean it's legit yet. It's only being proposed. It's being knocked around. What do we call this thing? What's it going to look like? Just don't make it look like anything else. Just change. Like, the one thing I do like about AEW's title belts is that they are all different. What I liked about the original NXT Championship belts was that the men's and women's championships were different. You had the big you had the big X with the N and T on the side as the title belt for NXT for the men's championship, whereas the women's championship was that oval shape with the pink lettering in it and everything, or the pink diamonds in it and everything. I like those championship belts better than what we have now, because it's like, let's make the men and women's championships look the same. We're talking about equality. We can't make them look any different. That's why I like the AEW championship and the women's championship. They look totally different. Same thing with Impact Wrestling. Their women's championship and their men's championship look totally different. The Women of Honor and the Ring of Honor championship, if I'm correct, look totally different. There's no one yet on when the title will be introduced, but two possible names thrown around are the NXT European title, which makes, NXT UK European title, or NXT UK Eurocontinental title. Both are terrible names. There's currently 3 titles associated with the NXT UK brand, the NXT title. The WWE UK title, which needs to be called the NXT UK title. It needs to. Currently held by Walter. The NXT UK tag team title is held by, the women's title held by Kaylee Ray, and the tag team title is held by Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. I think this would be a great thing for NXT UK. Honestly, I think NXT, the main brand NXT, waited way too long for that championship, that North American championship, to become a thing. That should have been something they introduced in like 2015 or 2016. I think there was so many talents that came through NXT that were never going to get a shot at the NXT championship. And if they would have had a secondary title, they would have had something to fight for. With NXT UK, it's like you have the NXT championship, you have the tag team titles and the women's championship. There's a lot of talent probably on that brand that's never going to sniff an UK championship title match. So getting them a mid-card title will be great. Like Travis Banks, Noam Dar, I can see maybe, possibly. I actually don't see them doing, like, getting a title match, and which I think Noam Dar did have one against Pete Dunne, but them actually being NXT UK champion or UK champion, I don't see that happening. But an NXT UK mid-card champion, I could totally see Travis Banks and Noam Dar fighting over that title. I mean, look at Ricochet. Ricochet only championship in WWE in NXT was the North American Championship. Ricochet's Ricochet never really had a shot at the NXT Championship. I don't think he did. And him being North American Champion, it was probably it was a good reign. It lasted from Brooklyn all the way to Phoenix. But NXT UK definitely needs that championship. Look at guys like Tyler Breeze. He came back to NXT and he got a North American Championship match. He had a couple NXT Championship matches back in 2014. But him coming down to NXT is going to be the tag team titles or the North American title. It's great to see the North American Championship become a thing and be as big as it is. Adam Cole won it first. Of course, Johnny Gargano's been North American Champion. Velveteen Dream is right now. Velveteen Dream is a guy that I don't think they would ever really put the main strap on. I mean, he would definitely be worth the main strap, but I don't think they're ever going to put the main strap on him. So him being the North American Champion is a great thing for him. Him versus Roderick Strong should be an excellent match this coming Wednesday. I don't think Roddy's going to win it just yet. I could be totally wrong, but it feels like the prophecy coming true should be something that they would hold off to War Games. Maybe they don't want to hold it off. We'll just have to wait and see. But the NXT UK brand getting a mid-card title is a good thing. Oh, but wait a minute. That's more titles for WWE. No. Each brand should have 4 championships. Because they have the women's tag team titles and they can bounce around if they want to. You have the world title, tag titles, mid-card title, and women's championship. And then, of course, if you want to count the women's tag team titles, go right ahead. So, there is that. The UK title, let me know in the comment section below what you think they should call it, because the NXT UK European title just does not sound good. And the Eurocontinental title just doesn't make sense either. The NXT brand, the world title needs to be called, their heavyweight title needs to be called the NXT UK Championship. They need to axe the WWE UK title and rename it the NXT UK Championship. But let me know in the comment section below what you think they should be calling it. The UK brand was officially introduced to fans in 2018. The NXT UK Women's title and Tag Team titles were announced in summer of 2018. Triple H recently spoke with Alice McCartney of Talk Sports and revealed that the NXT UK series is the second most popular show on the WWE Network behind the main NXT series. He also confirmed that they plan to do more with NXT UK Takeover events in 2020, adding NXT UK events to the schedule as the brand grows. A new singles title could help with the expansion of the NXT UK brand. For sure. I mean, takeovers have gotten a lot better, in my opinion, when they added that fourth title. I mean, yes, you had the NXT, you had 3 championship matches and then 2 matches as well, usually outside of War Games. But adding that fourth time, it's like, not everybody needs to be on TakeOver, and having 3 matches and a grudge match and then another match, just, But when you added that fourth title, you have the 4 titles, and then you have that match that could be seen, whoever it is, built to be a contender for a championship later on down the road. It makes it a little bit easier for NXT. So getting UK another championship is not a bad idea. Impact parent company purchases majority interest in Access TV. Access TV used to be HD TV, and now it's Access TV, where New Japan has their wrestling shows. Answer Sports and Entertainment announced that they have acquired a majority interest in Mark Cuban's Access TV and HDNet movies. There have been rumors of Anthem purchasing Access for a few months now, and those talks have now been confirmed. Longtime comedian and actor Steve Harvey has joined Anthem as an investor and strategic partner through his Steve Harvey Global Productions company. Harvey now has a seat on the Anthem board. Anthem, the parent company of Impact Wrestling, will assume daily operations of the 2 channels, Wrestling Promotion, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Women of Wrestling currently air on Access. Due to this, Access TV is going to be the home of Impact Wrestling come this October. They entered into an agreement and broadcast its flagship weekly show program Impact nationally across the U.S. on Access. Impact's parent company Anthem Sports and Entertainment officially announced that they have acquired a majority interest. Impact will begin airing weekly on Access following the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, which takes place on October 20th in Chicago. The show will continue to simulcast globally on Impact Wrestling's official Twitch channel. Impact Wrestling is a perfect fit for Access TV's slate of live sports and events and combat sports content, said Impact Wrestling president Ed Nordholm. The newest addition to our growing portfolio of media assets, Access TV's audience perfectly aligns with our passionate Impact Wrestling fans base, and this move increases the reach of our weekly program with distribution in over 50 million homes. We could not ask for a better home, and we're excited by entertaining opportunities to work with Mark Cuban and Schultz Entertainment Group, our partners with Access TV, to bolster Impact Wrestling's presence in the market as we continue to deliver action-packed and innovative weekly programming featuring some of the most athletic and gifted stars in the professional wrestling industry. Impact currently airs on Friday nights on Pursuit. Impact did not officially announce that the show would continue to air on Fridays. Here's my thing. Tuesdays are open in October. Just put it on Tuesday. Put it on Tuesday. Nobody is going to watch your show on Friday night at 10. Friday night at 10 is usually, especially right now because high school football is going on, people are going out on Friday nights. They're watching the kids play in football, or the schoolmates in football and high school football. And 10 o'clock is usually about the time they mostly end at 10 o'clock, especially in the East Coast, about 10:30. People are going to go home and they're going to go to bed. Why not go to Tuesdays, where Tuesdays are going to be open? You have Raw on Monday, Impact on Tuesday, AEW on Wednesday, NXT on Thursday, and SmackDown on Friday. 5 weeks, 5 days of wrestling. Will I watch Impact again? Probably not. I might sneak in here and there, but yeah. But Impact airing on Friday nights, like their biggest thing about Pursuit and them going to 10 p.m. was like, oh well, when SmackDown's over, people can go to Impact to continue watching wrestling. Why would anybody, after watching a shitty episode of SmackDown Live, want to tune into Impact Wrestling on a channel that almost nobody gets? Yes, 50 million homes is not as big as TNT, not as big as USA Network, definitely not as big as Fox, but it's definitely bigger than Pursuit Channel, where almost nobody got it. So, good for Impact Wrestling. Let's see what they go on from here. I wish them the best of luck. They got a better home. They just need to get some traction. Because quite honestly, Impact Wrestling is it's not cool anymore. TNA back in 2007, 2008, I think maybe 2009 was the sweet spot. That is when they were the best they could possibly be. And then they went out and got Hulk Hogan. They went out and got Eric Bischoff, killed off any storyline they were doing because they had to do a like, big, huge reset. And Impact Wrestling just downhill from there because Dixie Carter thought she pulled a Vince Russo. If I put myself on TV, if I'm going down the ship, I'm going to do it with myself. And Impact died. TNA died. Impact Dixie Carter and the Carter family finally sold it to Anthem Sports and Entertainment. They were going to originally sell it to Billy Corgan. And Impact has just been on. I'm surprised it's still around. I really am. Impact Wrestling is just really surprising that it's still around. People are definitely surprised at the fact that WCW Nitro didn't last even close to as long as Impact has. Like WCW, the only reason WCW died is because it was owned by Turner Broadcasting. It was owned by TNT, TBS, and all like Turner. And had WCW been owned by somebody like an investment group or something and had TV time on Turner, they would have probably still be around just on a lesser channel. So Impact Wrestling moving to Access TV in October, good for them, and I wish them the best. Speaking of Access TV, what's going on with New Japan? Because New Japan does run on Access TV. And with Anthem going there, and what is that going to do for New Japan? New Japan Pro Wrestling current contract with Access TV expires in 2021 January. As of now, the future of New Japan remaining on Access TV is unknown. After this week's news of Anthem Sports and Entertainment, the parent company of Impact Wrestling acquired a majority interest in Mark Cuban's Access TV and HDNet movies. Anthem will now assume daily operations of the two channels with Women of Wrestling and New Japan currently airing. Anthem has been public that it has not made any decision regarding current programming. Chief Corporate Officer of the Anthem, Ed Nordholm, and who is also in charge of Impact, we have been long-time broadcast partners with TV Asia for New Japan at Fight Network and hope to build on that relationship. We are in the middle of a season with WOW and about to tape another series of episodes next week, so no reason to make any decisions there in the short term. We're looking forward to getting to know them better. New Japan made it to Access TV thanks to Adam Swift, the company's former vice president of legal affairs. Swift grew up tape trading Japanese wrestling, which sparked his idea to bring it to the channel. Due to the sale, a number of Access TV staff members were laid off, including Swift. Along with the Dallas office being shut down, Swift's idea was given to the okay by Andrew Simon, CEO of Access TV Fights, who was also let go earlier this week. Access has been a New Japan broadcast partner since 2014. I don't see them going anywhere. There is absolutely no reason to try and break the contract. New Japan, if I'm correct, is running on Saturdays now. And honestly, if they are doing, like Ed Nordholm said, if they have partnership with New Japan in Asia or something, wherever it's at, then there's absolutely no reason for them to say, well, we're going to give you the Access in America. It's not competition. Like, New Japan and Impact Wrestling are not competing with each other. Hell, they had Taiji Ishimori on Impact Wrestling a couple times, at least a month or so to last year. Don Callis is running Impact Wrestling. He works with New Japan on big events, so quite honestly, New Japan and Impact Wrestling should probably have some kind of partnership, in my opinion. So let me know what you think about New Japan, and if it was to be moving from Access TV, where would you like to see it go, and would you like to see it continue in the States? WWE to change takeovers next year. This one kind of worries me. WWE is planning to hold a live Worlds Collide special on the Saturday night before Royal Rumble 2020, instead of the annual pre-Rumble Takeover event. WWE has announced details of the 2020 Rumble package that go on sale this Thursday. I believe it was this past Thursday, and there's no mention of pre-Rumble Takeover event. Instead, they have a Worlds Collide event listed for Saturday, January 25th, 2020, from the Toyota Center in Houston. This is the night before the Rumble, which takes place on January 26th from Minute Maid Park in Houston. WWE previously taped a World Collide event during the 2019 Royal Rumble weekend in Phoenix during Rumble Access. That special aired later in February. There's no word yet on the format of the Worlds Collide special or where it will air, but we will let you know when the full details on the event are announced. I don't know what this is going to be, but it could be like a big tournament. They did that. They did 2 Worlds Collide. They did one during WrestleMania during Royal Rumble weekend, which led up to Velveteen Dream winning the North American Championship, and then they had a different type of thing at WrestleMania weekend. Here's the thing when it comes to takeovers next year. Takeovers are going to be harder to do on Saturdays anyway, the same week as a pay-per-view. Think about this. WrestleMania is not going to be able to have a takeover this year. It can't. Because of the Hall of Fame. You have SmackDown on Friday, Hall of Fame Saturday, Sunday is WrestleMania, and Monday is Monday Night Raw. Now, if it was up to me, you would keep the Rumble takeover. You would do one in February, because they want to do 6. They want to do at least 6. You cannot do 12. There's no way you could do 12 takeovers because that would kill NXT completely. But every other month, they've done like a month in between when they did December to... They do it with TakeOver 25 was in June, and then TakeOver Toronto was in August. They can do 2 every other month. They've done it multiple times. But you do the one at the Rumble, then you do one in March, you do one in June, March, then you do one in May, then you do one in July, then you go September, and then November. And what that is if you're going to do that, you keep the Rumble and Survivor Series takeovers where they're at. You have TakeOver Rumble weekend, and then you have War Games at Survivor Series weekend. And you go from there. Because that's just what it needs to do. UK takeover events don't count as NXT takeover events. They're a different genre themselves, a different brand themselves. So if they wanted to, you could do March, you could do takeover. If you wanted to do takeover UKs as many times as you do takeover normal takeovers, you would do takeover in UK takeover in February, April, June, August, September, and December. August, October, and December. And there you go. Are they going to do that? I have no idea. I'm not going to be able to watch all of that and do all that because that's just so much wrestling. We're in a day and age where there is so much wrestling that, quite honestly, there's just going to be so much wrestling overload. We're going to be sitting here just by the end of this year, just be there's just too much wrestling. And by this time next year, I think, the wrestling, it's great for the wrestling industry, but for people who are content creators, if they want to try and cover as much wrestling as they can, we're going to get burned out really fast. WWE and Full Sail have extended their partnership. So anybody thinking that NXT might be moving away from Full Sail anytime soon, that's not going to happen. WWE announced this week that they have expanded their partnership with Full Sail University in Puerto Park, Florida. The announcement comes as they prepare to begin airing weekly NXT TV series live from Full Sail Live, which is on this Full Sail University campus in Winter Park. Full Sail University has been invaluable to the success of NXT, Triple H said in a press release. The passion we see from the students inspire our entire NXT roster and staff, and we are excited for the brand's next chapter at Full Sail Live each week. The WWE Full Sail partnership began in 2012 and has evolved into the new programs for WWE and the students on campus. WWE announced earlier this year during the 10th annual FSU Hall of Fame ceremony and 40th anniversary celebration at FS as a university that they have awarded the 22nd scholarship to Full Sail students for a total of $400,000 since May 2012. So That's great for them. Full Sail has been an integral part of NXT since NXT became the NXT as we know it today. Since 2012, when they got rid of the NXT brand, the NXT game show, and they went to the NXT that started out as what it turned into today. So they're not going anywhere. People, and quite honestly, until NXT starts feeling less special, Full Sail is always going to have that good crowd. Especially when the 205 Live coming in and everything else, it's going to be so. It's just going to be so much good. It's going to be good for them to stay there for right now. I propose that we do every other week, like do a live show and tape show while they tour. So like, and they say because they're going to Charlotte for Clash of Champions, while that's going on, like earlier in the day, NXT could be taping an episode for NXT. Well, this is when it was on the network still. That could be taping episodes for NXT in a smaller arena, of course, for NXT leading up to the pay-per-view, something like that. But no, they're going to stay in Full Sail, which is fine. Monday Night Raw's episode featured the final Hateful Clash of Champions drew an average of 2.13 million viewers. This is down 15% from last week's 2.507 million views, in the second lowest non-holiday audience ever, behind the June 10th show that drew 2.125. Yes, it's going to happen. Raw is going to hit record lows this year. Non-holiday too. This year, it's going to happen. Last year's episode of Raw that went up against the NFL Monday Night Football opener drew 2.74 million viewers, so this show is down 22.26 from last year. The show featured the return of Madison Square Garden, featuring Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin, plus the first ever King of the Ring triple threat in the final build to Sunday's pay-per-view. This show's the first hour drew 2.362 million views. The second hour drew 2.183 million views, and the third hour drew 1.845, which is a major drop from 2.326. The 22% drop from hour 1 to hour 3 this week is the biggest hour 1 to 3 drop since Paul Heyman was hired as executive director of the Red Brand. So them bringing Stone Cold Steve Austin back, sold tickets but did not sell the show out, and boom, it did not help the ratings at all. They put him out there first, and this is the problem. They put him out there first during a excellent Saints versus Texans game, and they drew in the first hour 2.362 million viewers. That was while Stone Cold Steve Austin was there. Of course, that is a big drop from 2.638 from the week before, but still, that is a massive drop. WWE is going to be like WWE. Here's the thing: WWE between WrestleMania and September have to do everything they can to get fans to come back and watch their program, because people come and watch the WrestleMania weekend. Everyone goes and watches until WrestleMania, and then people who are not going to watch till WrestleMania after WrestleMania anymore leave. WWE needs to build up how their fans to get their fans into it and keep them there, and build it up to where they're at a 3 or something like that. So when you get to September, you're not dropping to almost below 1 million, 2 million viewers. I would say end of October, if it is a good NFL game, that Monday Night Raw is going to suffer the biggest drop of all time. They're in the dead zone. They're in the danger zone right now. Monday Night Raw is not going to get any better. Paul Heyman is not going to help this show. Paul Heyman has not helped this show one bit. And this show is just going to continue to go downhill from here. Moving over to SmackDown. Why did they go with Chad Gable versus Shane McMahon in the main event? It was revealed earlier in the broadcast of Madison Square Garden that Shane McMahon would be replacing Elias in the King of the Ring match against Gable. Shane also made Kevin Owens the special referee, promised to forget about the $100,000 storyline fine against Owens in exchange for his help against Gable. The decision to do Shane versus Gable on the SmackDown show was a Vince McMahon call. Who would have guessed it? Who else do you think would have made that call? Do you think Vince went up to Vince? Do you think Shane went up to Vince and was like, "Hey, I'll take the spot. Come on, Vince. Come on, Dad. I can do this." No, Vince wanted to do that. There was talk of doing a battle royal to determine the replacement for Elias, but they decided to go with the pitch of you Shane instead. Or they could have did the smart thing and had Ali, who got beat by Elias, put back in the tournament. How hard would that have been? Shane has been away from WWE for 2 weeks due to jury duty. The feud with Owens was resumed on SmackDown, but there's no one known yet where it is headed with. Honestly, I don't care. Shane can go to NXT and stay there. He could show up on October 2nd, and wow the crowd. Oh my gosh, Kevin Owens is on NXT. All I know is they need to end Shane McMahon on TV. The whole best in the world shit needs to end. He's not the best in the world. He never was the best in the world, and he will never be the best in the world. I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. SmackDown Live had a small tiny drop of ratings, only down 3% from 2.130 last week. It was at 2.061. I don't know why we don't get the hour-to-hour rating for SmackDown like we do Monday Night Raw. I look it up and I've never seen to find the hour-to-hour. But if you look at the ratings for Raw, the biggest killer, and why Raw's viewership and ratings would not be as bad every single week if they did not have that third hour. That third hour on most weeks kills Monday Night Raw. But SmackDown didn't drop that much. It was The Undertaker. Here's the thing: the people who did leave were the people who did leave after the Undertaker left after the Undertaker. If there was any person who any vast majority in that 3% that left it was after the Undertaker, because the Undertaker came out, wasted our time for about 15 minutes, and then they left, and it's like, oh, time to go watch something else. Let's go watch. Let's go watch America's Got Talent. Let's go watch Tucker Carlson. Let's go watch Hannity. Let's go watch something else. The Rachel Maddow Show. Last Word. Something else. It's like SmackDown. SmackDown has more of an attendance problem than they do ratings problem, even though they are back in the twos. But quite honestly, SmackDown's ratings don't matter for the next 2 weeks. SmackDown is a lame duck right now. SmackDown ratings will not matter until October. I would not even say October 2nd, October 4th. SmackDown ratings will not really matter unless they go really, really belly up until October 18th or October 25th. Because that'll be the first, that'll be 2-3 weeks in. But for three weeks in, 4 weeks in, we're not gonna get a, oh well, look at that 20th anniversary episode. It had a 3.0 rating. That's not going to tell us anything, because that's going to be Legends. The next episode is going to be the draft, so that's going to be another ratings grab, because people want to know who's going to stay on Raw, who's going to stay on SmackDown, who's going to Raw, who's going to SmackDown. That's where that's going to be. You're not going to really have SmackDown ratings really mean anything until the 3rd and 4th week. So SmackDown right now, lame duck, not much you can say about it. But this is going to get interesting. WWE is scheduled to make significant changes to the announced teams, according to WrestleVotes, who have broken a lot of stories in the last 2 years. It has been noted how WWE is looking to have more brand exclusivity, with everything from announcers to rosters to storylines after SmackDown premieres on Fox on Friday nights on October 4th. The announced team changes are said to be made then. There's no word yet on the exact commentary things, but the word is that all shows will be impacted, including Raw. There's also said the return of two-man booth is coming. It's noted there's been talk of Renee Young becoming exclusive to SmackDown because she will be hosting the FS1 show on Tuesday nights. Corey Graves is expected to call either Raw or SmackDown, but not both. It's also noted how Nigel McGuinness on 205 Live left the announced team and called NXT with Mauro Ranallo and Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix. 205 Live is now being called by Aiden English, Vic Joseph, and Dio Madden, Brendan Williams each week. Now, the change looks to be Vic Joseph on Monday Night Raw with who, I don't know. and Corey Graves and Michael Cole on SmackDown. It's a start. Here's another thing that needs to happen. They need different sets. When we go to SmackDown, that October 4th edition of SmackDown, I better see a different set. I don't care if you bring back the SmackDown fist with the 2 screens. I don't care. I don't want to see Monday Night Raw look like it does, and then I go to SmackDown and I see SmackDown Live. It's also a lot worse because right now it's SmackDown and Raw and SmackDown on back-to-back days. You don't really get a breather. You don't get that couple days breather like you used to. So seeing the same set back-to-back days, or back-to-back-to-back days, because it's been like that since SummerSlam 2016, it kind of gets annoying. I mean, go back to the first month of the brand split. Just look at the sets. Yes, they were both HD screens still, but they looked different. SmackDown had its own set. Raw had its own set. It had that arch, it had a different screen. It had an arch above it. It looked, everything from Raw and SmackDown looked different when it came to those sets. And when we get to SummerSlam 2016, and they have a different set. They have a totally different set for SummerSlam than the other two. And it's like, oh, this is great. At least it's not what we've seen on Raw and SmackDown. It might be bland, but it's different. Then we get to Raw and SmackDown, which they were both in the Barclays Center. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to sit there and fault them for that because it was in the Barclays Center. You're not going to waste your time changing sets from pay-per-view to the next show because it's in the same place. So I was like, that's fine. We get to the next week, and this is the same set we have now. The only really difference between, I believe, Raw and SmackDown is Raw has an elevated stage and SmackDown does not. Other than that, it's the same fucking set and it's boring. Give me Raw with its own set and SmackDown with its own set. You're going to have two different... Here's the thing. You have the fucking money. Get 2 different production vehicles, one with the Raw set, one with the SmackDown set, and take it wherever the hell it goes. I'm tired of seeing the same sets week in and week out from the same spot. It's just enough of it. Enough. So, who's going to be going to wear Corey Graves and Michael Cole to SmackDown? Vic Joseph and I don't know to Raw. We'll have to wait and see. Now, all I have to say about Vic Joseph, him going... I would rather have Vic Joseph and Michael Cole be on Raw, for the simple fact is Vic Joseph seemed to do well with Michael Cole in that role. That, like, Michael Cole taking a step back and being the color to Vic Joseph being play-by-play and Vic Joseph running Monday Night Raw. I know Michael Cole at sometimes did talk, tried to take over, but Vic Joseph took over again, and Vic Joseph, killed it. That was his audition to become the lead announcer for Monday Night Raw. And honestly, and another thing, if you're going to do these brand exclusivities when it comes to announcers, Vince McMahon, get out of the fucking headset. Let these guys, men and women, or men, breathe. Let them talk. Let them have their own personalities. Let them be who they are. Don't just sit there and try and just read a script for them to say verbatim, man. Let them be who they are. Let Corey Graves go back to being who he used to be in NXT. Let us get Michael Cole from the UK, the first UK Championship tournament when he sounded phenomenal. Give us that. You don't the only reason you should be on the headset is to correct mistakes if something was said wrong. Push the WWE Network once an hour, not once every 5 minutes, once an hour. Just don't have them go out there and cite a match word for fucking word. It's just, no, don't do it. Let these men go, let these men and women, if there's a woman on the commentary, which should be anytime, again, Beth Phoenix should be coming up anytime. Let the men and women, whoever's going to be on commentary, let them breathe, let them have their chance to shine, because everything sounds so robotic. I so want Corey Graves and Renee Young to be on 2 different brands if they're going to be on commentary, because their bickering is insufferable. I can deal with Byron Saxton and Corey Graves because Byron Saxton says something, Corey Graves says something to him, and then Byron shuts up for a minute. Corey Graves and Renee Young, they bicker back and forth like they're 2 grade school children. And my word, I'm going to rip my fucking hair out sometime. I'm just ripping my fucking hair out shut up! I don't want to hear it again. So I'll let you know what's going on. We'll probably find out at the draft. It's not going to be a JR situation where they don't tell who's going where. I'm pretty sure everyone knows where anyone's going when we get there. Hell, for all we know, WWE doesn't even know. That's how the Superstar Shakeup went this year. They didn't know where anyone was going. Should be really interesting to see, and hopefully it's brand exclusivity. No free agents. John Cena comes back, he's on Monday Night Raw, or he was on SmackDown Live. No one's a free agent. Not even Brock Lesnar, not John Cena, not The Undertaker, Triple H, or anybody. You're either on Raw or you're on SmackDown. Don't set that precedent that like, oh, these guys get to be on whatever the show they fucking feel like it. I don't care. You're either on Raw or you're on SmackDown, or hell, you're in NXT. I don't care. Speaking of Monday Night Raw, Kurt Angle has a job backstage at Raw as he's a full-time producer. He is working behind the scenes for the Raw brand, which is why he was backstage for this week's TV show at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Angle, of course, lost his farewell match to Baron Corbin at WrestleMania, has spent the past few months shadowing other producers backstage to learn the role. Congratulations. If there's anybody that these young up-and-comers really want to talk to, Kurt Angle is definitely one of those guys that you want producing your match. This guy was a guy who picked up wrestling faster than anybody. He was just one of those guys that picked up he just picked it up so fast, and it's somebody that if you want to pick a brain, you want to pick somebody's brain to get better in this business, Kurt Angle is definitely one of those guys, and him being a producer is probably going to benefit the Raw superstars more than it wouldn't. WWE hires for an Impact interview and a Sirius XM host. Former Impact Wrestling announcer Mackenzie Mitchell revealed on Twitter that she has signed with WWE. She posted a photo of the WWE facility and wrote, "Dream come true, your newest WWE on-air host." There's no word yet on what Mitchell will be doing or if she will start out as in WWE NXT, but her tweet mentioned being on-air host. Former Impact president Dixie Carter hired Mitchell in 2016 to work as a backstage interviewer and to help with the photo shoots for the Knockouts. She left the company in January and has recently worked for Fox Sports West in Los Angeles. According to PW Insider, it will be interesting to see if Mitchell calls matches, she's never did it for Impact. She was praised for calling some indie wrestling matches earlier this year. On a related note, WWE also had Matt Camp to work as an on-air host in WWE Digital Talent this week. Camp has worked for Bleacher Report, SiriusXM, and has done commentary work for Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore promotion. Camp took to Twitter and wrote, "My first at WWE event was 2/23/92 in the Garden. Appropriately enough, this is my first week as on-air." Okay, I don't know why you wrote 2/23/92. Okay. Oh, that was his first event that he went to. Okay. Thanks to everyone who supported me along the way. Well, I don't know who either of these two are, and quite honestly, if WWE has their way, they'll be just as robotic as everyone else. Best of luck to them. WWE's their dream job. I can't fault anyone for wanting to go to WWE if that's their dream job. Just we see how WWE treats how WWE turns their interviewers into robots. Just go look at Dasa Fuentes' interview with Chris Van Vliet and how she went from DocshaBot to just this woman that, who the fuck was this? Because she was never on WWE TV. I don't know who this robot they used to have called Dasa Fuentes was, because the person Chris Van Vliet interviewed was definitely not the same person. And if she was, WWE royally fucked up. WWE's plans for 205 Live, as Triple H explains. He was recently spoke with Newsweek and said it was very important that WWE stay at Full Sail, NXT stay at Full Sail Live for the big move to USA Network this month. He also credited the fan base in Florida with helping create the brand. He also revealed that 205 Live will begin to operate under the NXT umbrella soon, along with NXT UK and the main NXT brand. He mentioned 205 Live was helping to breathe some life in the NXT soon, and then asked if he will see 205 Live sit under the umbrella. You'll start to see 205 begin to, Triple H revealed. I think it always existed as an island unto itself a little bit, and it's become lost in this limbo. You'll begin to see it move more towards the NXT banner and the talent there. We have a lot of talent for them to begin to compete, either opening against anyone or in the Cruiserweight division. But have that title sit under the NXT brand is more meaningful. It creates more opportunities for more people as Raw and SmackDown. It's an open division for them. When you're on those shows, everybody's competing against everybody. It's been reported that the NXT call-ups on the main roster will also continue despite NXT becoming a third major brand. With the move to the USA, Triple H asked if those call-ups will come and if the talent could be lifers. Now, something Johnny Gargano said he would love to be. First, when it comes to 205 Live, honestly, them going to NXT would be perfect for them. I don't know if it's going to be where they are the 7 o'clock hour, like 7 o'clock on the WWE Network leading into NXT, or if they're going to be matches on NXT with the Cruiserweight Championship. Because quite honestly, I think 5 titles in NXT is a little much. I think it needs to be on its own. I don't want it to be one of those things. The only positive about 205 Live coming, one of the big positives is that these guys will be able to be welcomed. They'll be accepted for what they should be. You'll actually get crowd reactions instead of being dead silence that you see at SmackDown tapings. People in Florida and Full Sail are going to actually give a damn. That's all you can say about that. As he said with this, I think it can be no different than somebody becomes the face of Raw and spends the majority of their career there. It's the same with SmackDown and the same with NXT. I also think the opportunity for someone to leave for a period of time, take a breather, and come back a little later refreshed is important. This gives them the opportunity to do other things. As NXT becomes bigger and more of an opportunity to do other things as a global brand, like you see what you've done in the UK, you will see talent has the opportunity to take a breather from Raw and SmackDown or someplace else, and still it will be very meaningful for them and not seen as I'm going down to the minors or anything else. It's going to be a shift over the different brand with a different feel and a different vibe, where they can grow and refresh, become something different, and so when they go back, or maybe don't, they can rebrand themselves. The most successful talent in this business from a long-term standpoint has the ability to reinvent themselves over time, and that gives them the chance to reinvent yourself all the time. Yes, NXT lifers I can honestly see. I mean, look at The Undertaker from 2007 until, 2002 to about 2000 and what was it, 10? His second match was Shawn Michaels. Undertaker was a SmackDown lifer that entire stretch. He was a SmackDown guy. They would have a draft come up. He would never go to Raw. He wouldn't go to ECW except for maybe a spot here and there. But when it was the brand split was solid and it was something they actually stuck with, Undertaker was a lifer over there. Can't say the same thing about Triple H. He went to SmackDown for a minute, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it could happen. And quite honestly, a guy like Johnny Gargano, I could see be that guy. I mean, Cassius Ohno looked like he was going to be an NXT lifer, but he ended up going to NXT UK, where he is now running roughshod over there, doing everything he can to terrorize NXT UK. So, lifers, they can happen for sure. Now, when it comes to talent coming from the main roster, Raw and SmackDown to NXT, it's fine if they're going to be there for 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2. I don't want to see like a Roman Reigns come down, hey guys, I'm back in NXT for you. I'm not going to try to do his voice. And then beat up Johnny Gargano, and then be gone the next week, and you never see him in NXT again. I don't want to see that. If they're in NXT, they stay in NXT, they don't go back to Raw and SmackDown. Cesaro showed up at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff and took on Ilya Dragunov. That motherfucker needs to be drafted to NXT UK, and that's where he works, because motherfucker, they know how to use him, whereas the main roster doesn't. He came back to Raw, and he lost to The Miz like that. Yeah. Lifers, I can see happening. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I expect when we get to the draft that there are going to be a couple moves from NXT to Raw and SmackDown. I would like to see maybe an Apollo Crews be moved to NXT. I would love to see Shelton Benjamin move to NXT. I'd love to see Shelton Benjamin versus a Keith Lee, a Shelton Benjamin versus a Punishment Martinez, or a Damian Priest. Like I said, the draft's going to be interesting. I think when the draft is officially announced, I will have a prediction videos of who I could see going from Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw, NXT to Raw and SmackDown, and SmackDown to Raw to NXT. Make sure to look out for that video. Sasha Banks on why she took a break. Sasha Banks was a guest on the WFNZ show The Mac Attack. During the interview, Sasha spoke about how taking a break from WWE was the best for her. Watching wrestling as a kid, NXT coming to USA, and how women wrestling is changing. When asked why she took a break from WWE after WrestleMania, she revealed that people need to step back and reevaluate their lives. True. I've been doing this for 7 years straight. No breaks. People need to step back, reevaluate their lives, take care of their souls and their minds. I'm back in better than ever. I got a championship match on Sunday, so I think I did quite well for myself. That is the short version. There is a WWE Chronicle that went out yesterday. As I am recording this, it is Saturday, September 14th. I am recording this for Sunday afternoon. And that Chronicle I have not seen yet, where she is going to be speaking in her own words everything that's happened from WrestleMania to the time she came back. So it's going to be interesting to see. Make sure to check it out on the WWE Network. Moving over to Cedric Alexander's push, he is set to return home to Charlotte, North Carolina on Sunday to challenge United States Champion AJ Styles at Clash of Champions. But he might have to wait for his big title reign to kick off. Cedric is one of the talents that Raw Executive Director Paul Heyman is high up on. The Wrestling Observer newsletter adds that Heyman reportedly wants to give Cedric a slow push to the top of the ladder. Of course, it's how you should book somebody. Apparently, Heyman has slow pushes to pop stars to the top rung planned for a few stars on Raw. There's no word yet on what WWE has planned for Cedric at Sunday's pay-per-view and past that, but it's believed that his push will continue even if he takes a loss to Styles. Cedric took to Instagram a couple days ago and hyped Sunday's homecoming on Clash of Champions. This Sunday, come home and become WWE United States Champion. Hashtag Age of Alexander. Hashtag Ebony Lion. Hashtag Second to None. Hashtag Queen City's favorite son. So, yeah. I don't see him winning this match. There is absolutely no reason for him to win this match yet. A slow push, like Jinder Mahal winning the WWE Championship, was not a slow push. That was just, let's give this guy the championship and push him to the moon. Roman Reigns, main eventing 5 WrestleManias in a row, or 4 WrestleManias in a row, was not a slow push. That was a push him to the moon type thing. A slow push is the way you're supposed to get a baby face, especially a baby face, is the way you get a baby face from being a star to a superstar and get people to care about that baby face. This is a good thing for Cedric. It's no surprise that Cedric Alexander went from not being used at all to being pushed like he is. So, Cedric Alexander should be interesting to see what happens, but I don't see him winning on Sunday. Freaking ladybug in my wall. What the hell? Well, we see Cedric Alexander as the United States Champion. I'd say Hell in a Cell would be good if they build this right. If Paul Heyman has a say in everything and Paul Heyman builds this guy right, Cedric Alexander will be probably the first guy to win the United States Championship and actually feel like he's a special dude. His biggest win, he was in the main event of Madison Square Garden, winning a 10-man tag match, hitting the lumbar check on the United States Champion, and then was in a beer bash with Stone Cold Steve Austin and didn't take a stunner. So I think him getting pushed is at the right time. The difference between pushing somebody to the moon and slow pushing somebody you push to the moon, and push them, drop a rocket to him and push him immediately, like a Roman Reigns, a Jinder Mahal. Fans are going to turn on that person like that, and they're going to be the most hated thing. They don't like it, and fans are just going to go completely batshit crazy. Somebody you push slowly to the championship or to the top is the way you should go, because fans are going to get behind that character, fans are going to get behind that person, and they're going to want to. And when that person wins a championship or wins a big major feud, fans are going to pop, and you're going to get the right reaction. Cedric Alexander winning on Sunday, I don't see it happening. Will it be clean? Will it be dirty? We'll have to wait and see, but I do not expect to see Cedric Alexander win. And the fact is that he's in his hometown. So Charlotte and Cedric are both in their hometown. I don't see either one of them winning. That's the thing. We'll have to wait and see, but I think Cedric Alexander will be fine as long as Paul Heyman has the hook on him. WWE was looking to buy CMLL's tape library for the WWE Network. It was reported earlier this summer via Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE officials were having some sort of talks with the legendary CMLL, Consejo Mundial de la Lucha Libre wrestling promotion in Mexico, the oldest wrestling promotion in all of wrestling. They are the oldest active wrestling promotion. They even predate They even predate Capital Wrestling Corporation, which became the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the World Wrestling Federation, and now the WWE. The original reports led to speculation of a possible talent exchange between WWE and CMLL. Yeah, not happening. WWE doesn't talent exchange with anybody. Outside of course, no, they don't really talent exchange with anybody. But the talks were actually for CMLL content to be featured on the network, according to Planetara Wrestling. WWE has reportedly approached CMLL about purchasing access to their video libraries. The report from the Planetara Wrestling noted that CMLL content would be potentially be available under the tiered pricing system that will be introduced in the near future. It has been reported that WWE will likely be offering various indie content from other promotions under the tiered pricing system. There is no word yet on how far their talks are, but we will keep you updated. I do not know if I would even want to watch anything from CMLL. I mean, that's where the original Sin Cara came from. I don't know anyone else who's actually come from CMLL. So, I don't even know, what I would want to get out of that. Maybe that's where Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik came from. I don't know. But I think Progress, I think you have a better chance for somebody like me watching Progress or ICW or Evolve over a CMLL content. Of course, that's not just, WWE Network's not just catered to me, it's catered to everybody. So maybe there's people out there who want to check out CMLL. But when it comes to, tiered pricings and other promotions showing up on the WWE Network, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say CMLL. Maybe AAA, maybe, older Ring of Honor, if you can get a hold of that, if they could. Or maybe the Global Wrestling Network stuff, if those tapes wouldn't have got destroyed thanks to Anthem. Maybe Impact Wrestling with Impact Wrestling or TNA tapes back when and all that. I just don't see any CMLL being a hot topic for the WWE Network. I could be wrong. Maybe in Mexico it would be a hot topic, but for here in the States, I just don't see CMLL being a big hot topic compared to Progress, ICW, and of course Evolve. The first WWE programming on Fox is scheduled to air on Friday, September 27th at 8 p.m. But that's not a Friday, and that's not October. I know. It's a 1-hour SmackDown Greatest Hits special from 8 p.m. To air on 8 p.m. on Friday night on the main Fox channel, according to PW Insider. The September 27th episode is designed to be a preview for WWE coming to Fox. It has been noted earlier this summer that a preview special was being planned as a way to show non-WWE fans what to expect, as a way to introduce them to the superstars and the brand in general. Fox will premiere on Fox Friday. SmackDown will premiere on Fox Friday nights, beginning with the October 4th edition. The show will then air live every week from 8 to 10 p.m. The October 4th premiere will air live from the Staples Centers in Los Angeles and will be the 20th anniversary special. The final episode of SmackDown to air on the USA Network is scheduled to air on Tuesday, September 24th in the regular time slot, which means there will be more than a week, 7 days, in between regular Blue Brand episodes. This September 27th special will make it so that there will be at least some SmackDown content on TV before the October 4th premiere. So yeah, you have a week and 4 days between both of those. I'm not going to watch it as a SmackDown Greatest Hits. If I want to watch the Greatest Hits of SmackDown, I'll go look at the WWE Network. It's that obvious. So there you go, September 27th. My question is, are they going to promote it? Most likely not. So is many people going to tune in to watch a SmackDown special? I highly doubt it. That rating will be really interesting to see what it gets. Speaking of airing specials, AEW is to air a second preview special on TNT. The current plan of AEW's next TV show on TNT is to air a preview show on Tuesday, October 1st. This Tuesday night preview show would air to build the premiere of the weekly NXT AEW TNT the next night, live at the Capitol One Center in Washington, D.C. The Wednesday night premiere is scheduled to feature the appearance by Jon Moxley, Cody versus Sammy Guevara, which we'll get to that in a second, Nyla Rose versus Rio for the crown the first ever women's champion, plus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, the Elite, versus AEW World Champion Chris Jericho and two mystery partners. if you did not check out the first preview, which was the preview to All Out, what it was every episode of the Road to All Out that AEW premiered on YouTube, they took it, they smashed it together, and put it on TNT. They are currently airing on, I think it's Wednesdays, the Road to TNT on YouTube. So, in my opinion, I think that's what they're going to do too, is they're just going to take those episodes, mash them together, and put them on TV. Now, I did not think about this until I saw a Q&A that Cody was doing on Twitter on Saturday, earlier today when I'm taping this. Cody Rhodes is, of course, 2-0-1 in singles competition. And that is why he's the de facto number one contender going into Full Gear. However, there is another unbeaten singles competitor, or overall competitor in Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara has had 2 matches in AEW. He had that match against Kip Sabian on the buy-in for Double or Nothing, and he won that match. And then he was in the 6-man tag match at Fyter Fest. Fight for the Fallen, my friend. Fight for the Fallen, in which he, Shawn Spears, and MJF took on Darby Allin, Joey Janela, and Jimmy Havoc, and they won that match. So Sammy Guevara has a 1-0 singles record, but he has a 1-0 6-man record, but he has a 2-0 record, 2-0 record overall. Somebody asked Cody if Sammy Guevara beat him on Tuesday on that first episode, would he get the match at Full Gear? And Cody pretty much said yes. If that happens, that is the plan. If Sammy Guevara beats Cody Rhodes at TV, then Cody Rhodes will not be going to Full Gear. It will be Sammy Guevara. So that takes whatever we were talking about and complaining about the fact that they made that match at Full Gear. That just changed it 100%. But the simple fact is, it makes it more interesting if Cody, because Cody, he's everywhere. He's focused on that match. He's focused on Full Gear. He's focused on his office duties. He's not going to be 100% focused on Sammy Guevara, while Sammy Guevara is 100% focused on Cody Rhodes. So if Sammy pulls out the win and beats Cody, then Sammy Guevara will be getting the second title match at Full Gear after, of course, the first match, which I still don't know who they're going to be doing and how they're going to decide that. Also, another thing that AEW did, which I think was pretty cool, was that a couple days ago, I believe it was on Thursday or Friday, I woke up and I came to my Twitter account, and they were holding a poll because of the tag team title tournament. We have 2 tag teams who were winless: Jack Evans and Angelico, and the Luchasaurus, and the Dino Express of Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. And they put a poll out to see who we decide who's going to be the final spot in the tag team tournament. And quite honestly, it was at like 97% Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and like 3% Jack Evans and Angelico. So that was a really cool thing. Speaking of the AEW on TNT show, there is no name for the weekly TV show yet, but it should be announced soon. It's believed that Tuesday Night Dynamite was trademarked as the name of the show, back when the idea was TNT AEW would air the weekly show in the 8 p.m. time slot on Tuesday nights, which currently belongs to SmackDown, beginning the first week of October when SmackDown moved to Fox on Fridays. That plan did not work out because TNT's commitments with the NBA on Tuesday nights. AEW also trademarked the Wednesday Night Dynamite name, but that has not been confirmed as the name of the weekly TNT show. I really hope they come up with a better name, because anything Night Dynamite is absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Give me a better name. Come on. I like AEW on TNT. Not that hard. AEW announced its national debut, and it has been announced for the 7th TNT episode will air from the legendary Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee on Wednesday, November 13th. That still leaves us 1 week before they go back to the Sears Centers before so that's the 13th. We still don't know where they're going to be on November 20th. I'm sure we'll find out this week or the week after that. Tickets went on sale for, of course, the Nashville debut. I'm pretty sure they sold out very well. But that will be on November 30th. The AEW tickets went on sale Friday. There will be the first TNT episode that takes place after AEW Full Gear pay-per-view, so it's going to be your Fallout show. Wrestlers featured on Nashville's promotional graphic are AEW World Champion Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Nyla Rose, and Cody Rhodes. Below the current lineups for the first few episodes, I had the first two, of course, would be Jon Moxley appears live, Cody versus Sammy Guevara, and everything. The Young Bucks and the Elite versus Chris Jericho and two partners, Rio versus Nyla Rose. And then the second week will be Shawn Spears versus Jon Moxley, and the Young Bucks versus Private Party, and the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament match, which will hopefully be get starting. And then the Wednesday show, the third show, which will be Philadelphia, you have Chris Jericho versus whoever for the world title, and Nyla Rose or Rio versus whoever for the women's championship. So all three shows looking to start out pretty well. The jury is still out on AEW's TNT show because we have not seen an episode yet. My dad's like, oh, it's going to be the greatest thing. They're going to have like the greatest show ever. And it's like, you've got to pump the brakes. We have to pump the brakes. They've had 4 shows, which have been 2 pay-per-views and 2 free shows in the States. That is not, and those are pay-per-view as shows. Though you cannot take those shows and say, this is what TV is going to be like in the format sense. Because there's no commercials on pay-per-views. There's no, pretty much, the pay-per-views, Double or Nothing and All Out, they were, kind of held to a timestamp. But the other 2, they could pretty much go as long as they wanted to. It was on Bleacher Report. They could go as long as they wanted to. They, hopefully in this entire month, they are doing mock shows, mock runs of the first show. So they can get it down to 2 hours on time. Because quite honestly, give or take, because commercial breaks. Quite honestly, I don't want it to be one of those things where they're halfway through a match and it's like, well, we're out of time, guys. We'll see you next week. AEW has a lot to. They can pass with flying colors, or they can fail miserably. That's where it just feels like they're going to pass with flying colors, or they're going to fail miserably, or they're going to go in between. There's a lot still to go. They have a strong lineup for the first 3 episodes, and we're going to find out more later. Of course, the 4th and 5th week are going to be the finals and the semifinals on the last 2. Like the 4th and 5th week are going to be your semifinals and your finals for the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament. So there's a lot to ride on it. I can't wait to see what the bracket looks like, how many teams are in this, what teams are we going to see, what matchups we're going to see outside of Private Party versus the Young Bucks. I fully expect to see the Lucha Bros in this. I fully expect to see the Dark Order, of course, have a bye. And I, of course, expect to see the Best Friends in there as well. Just so much to see, and we have so much to work on. I can't wait to see what we have. But I'm holding my expectations. I'm not going completely high on AEW because they don't have a show. Their show hasn't started yet. And if they come out falling out flat, it's like, oh, that's a disappointment. I don't want to be overly disappointed because I expected so much for them. Set your expectations middle, not low, not all the way high, just in the middle. Because if they're bad, then you're not going to be as disappointed as you would if it'd be high. If they're better than what you expect, then that's only better. Update on the All Out buys. As previously reported, AEW All Out guaranteed about 28,000 buys on standard pay-per-view in the United States. In an update, Dave Meltzer reports on the Wrestling Observer Radio that streaming numbers for All Out in the U.S. were about even with Double or Nothing and not higher as previously reported, so overall buys in the U.S. declined. Fight TV confirmed to Wrestling Inc. over the weekend that international buys on the platform of All Out were up from Double or Nothing. Meltzer notes that the buys in the UK are TV up as well. It is still estimated that the All Out averaged about 100,000 buys, down 10% from 111,000 buys generated for Double or Nothing. Meltzer noted that while the decline in U.S. buys was significant, the increase in the buys from the UK helped the final number. However, there would be more of a revenue drop as the price of the pay-per-views was more expensive in the United States. AEW's next pay-per-view, Full Gear, takes place on November 9th at the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. It will be the company's first pay-per-view following the launch of their weekly TV show on TNT. Yeah, I expected, I'm going to say, Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen did not really help AEW as much as it should have. In my opinion, it felt like AEW, Fyter Fest was fun to watch and everything, but it was there were parts of it that just, I think, detracted away. The Battle Royals, that Casino Battle Royal needs to go away. They need to never do that again. Both of those Battle Royals were a mess. They were not good. The Battle Royal they did at all the over the budget Battle Royal they did on their whatever they called it. It wasn't the buy-in. It was the whatever it is. Yeah, the battle royal they did at All In the pre-show to All In last year was 10 times better than what they did in both casino battle royals. I didn't like it. It's a Royal Rumble of sorts, but you have like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The suit comes up, and then everyone just walks out casually. No one's running to the ring except for when B. Priestley came out and ran after. Britt Baker ran out to attack B. Priestley. Nothing else really happens, and then of course you get your final participant, and everyone goes crazy. But other than that, the battle royals were terrible. That probably detracted away from a lot of people because that just wasn't any good. But the biggest problem I think Double or Nothing All Out had was that it didn't have much. The build didn't like. You had Cody versus Shawn Spears. You had the world title match. You had the Lucha Bros, which really only had a build because the Lucha Bros went in to fight for the Fallen and brought a ladder out and challenged them to a ladder match. A lot of the matches just got thrown on there and really didn't have any build. Full Gear is going to be the first pay-per-view where they actually have a chance to build. They're going to have 6 weeks of TV to build this show to say, hey, look, this is going to be a show worth watching. Double or Nothing had 111,000 buys. For the simple fact is it was fresh, it was new, it was not WWE, and people were curious. You got, they probably, in my opinion, didn't lose me, but I'm sure a couple fans, not many, but I'm sure a couple fans, a couple hundred fans or so, probably got turned off of AEW after these 4 shows that they did, because they weren't the greatest shows of the year, but they had some good spots, but they had some really low spots too, and a lot of people probably got turned off. AEW on TNT needs to be the best it can be, so when we get the Full Gear, you have people just going and wanting to buy that. You need to sell this thing as best as possible. You don't have to use YouTube, but you can use TV, which is going to be a major advantage over Double or Nothing and All Out. That is your Unscripted for September 15th, 2019. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFranceClub, as well as Twitter @TheFranceClub. And make sure to check out Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and my Clash of Champions review predictions for this week. I will be back here later for the Clash of Champions review, either tonight or tomorrow morning. Just depends on how this show drags or how this show goes. If it's a nice steady pace, then it shouldn't be a problem. But if it's a long, drawn-out, get these matches over with type of card, then I'll probably have to wait till Monday morning. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.